How much do you know about composting?
Nothing.
Really nothing. The dirt pile or like where we put it?
Just anything.
Okay. So when you eat lunch and you have food left over, you can put your food in the MA compost.
I know we compost in the cafeteria, and I don't know whether that's moved off-site, but then I also know that there's composting in the garden.
People are really mean to you if you don't compost.
Where do you think the MA compost goes?
In the trash.
To the garden.
Okay.
The garden? In the dump.
I'm on Eco Action, so I feel like I should know. We don't have a composting bin on campus, I don't think. So I think it just goes into the like compost that's on the outside of the library. And I think we might have a composting bin. I should know this. I'm on Eco Action. I have no idea.
What happens during the process of composting?
Things decompose.
Bugs eat it.
The material that they get out of their yard and the food scraps from their kitchen come in, and we put them into the big piles and we blow air through, and the natural bacteria, which are tiny little organisms that you can't see with your naked eye, they munch on the compost. They use it as food. They use the green waste as food, and they break it down to it's something very small and very dark, and it's very good for your plants. So mostly you would probably have food waste with a little bit of green waste from landscaping in your school garden. So that would go into the truck, and we actually don't take material from schools. But if we did, it would come in through the scale house. We would weigh the truck full. It would go to the compost pad. It would dump the material on the ground. That material would get fed into a grinder and ground into very small pieces, 6-inch at the largest. And that 6-inch material, if it was too dry, would be moisture conditioned until it was about 60% moisture. Then it is put into a covered aerated static pile. And that covered aerated static pile has about 600 cubic yards, which is about 200 tons of material in it. And then it's covered with another 250 yards of finished compost. At that point, we turn on the air, and the 5 aeration pipes underneath each composting pod deliver air to it, as much as 200 cubic feet a minute, as much as 2,000 cubic feet a minute. Usually we dial it down till it's a little less than that. If the pile is too hot, we give it more air. If it's too cold, we give it less air. And it has to stay above 131 degrees for at least 3 days. The compostable materials usually stay on the aeration pipes for about 3 weeks. After that, we take it off. We put it into a yard to cure, and it stays in the yard curing for about 3 months. Then we'll screen it, and we screen it to 3/8 inches. So very fine material for your garden or for vineyards or for whomever. And then that material gets tested. We test for pathogens, we test for heavy metals, we test for contamination, plastic and glass and metal and sharps. And then we also we germinate cucumbers in the compost to make sure that it's not phytotoxic.